So what's up? What's up, you guys? We're back with two men and a lady. Okay, and we want to say special shout out. We have our logo on the screen. So shout out to that person for making that for us. And then we got an intro that's gonna be coming soon as well. So
Love it.
yes, I want to first let me go to Katie. Talk one on one. How you doing?
I am great. I am great. Thanks for having me again.
Yes. Okay. Conscious TV. How you doing?
I'm doing good considering that I ain't butchered up from my Saturday tattoo session. So I'm throbbing here and I'm throbbing here, but I'm in
Oh
good
my
spirits.
god. Yeah, I saw the tattoo. It's all like on your back,
Thank
on
you.
your shoulder and stuff like that.
What
I
did
don't
you
have
think? Like, did it turn you on?
well tattoos to me. I don't like tattoos,
You
honestly.
such a hater. Next.
No, no, honestly, no, no, no. It's not on hate. I personally, some tattoos. Okay, it's one particular tattoo that I do like. Okay, if you watch wrestling, do any of y'all watch wrestling? I don't know if y'all know who the wrestler Brock Lesnar is, but that tattoo that he got on his back, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to have that. And I liked, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I like tattoos on the chest. It depends upon what's on
Well,
the chest.
I got a big old phoenix right here for you to gaze at.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So how were y'all holidays yesterday? How was it? Was it good?
It was good. I actually paid for Sims Barbecue down here to cater, and I didn't have to cook. And we just sit back. We enjoyed ourselves, some recreational events, and
Uh
we had a good time. Me and my sister and family.
so what about you, Conscious? Did you cook
I was asleep. I
yesterday?
slept through that white man's holiday like it was in nobody's business. I was gone the whole 24-hour period of July the 4th. I ain't wake up to July the 5th. So it was great.
Well, I think I streamed a video yesterday. I pretty much slept. I heard a couple of fireworks going off, but I didn't celebrate it. I didn't go out. Today, actually, someone that I just met want me to come over their house, and they're literally turned up. But since that Bill Cosby stuff happened, I'm not going on somebody else that really like to get drunk. You got to be sober. Because people they act weird. So so yesterday I didn't pretty much do nothing. I didn't barbecue. I didn't do anything. I didn't go out. Pretty much Juneteenth weekend I was turned up because I was in Vegas. But for the fourth, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do
Okay, so let me
anything.
ask you this question: let me ask you and Katie both. Has Juneteenth replaced y'all July the 4th?
For me, it has, because now I'm like, I want to plan something else for next year for Juneteenth. Only because I'm in Dallas. Because Dallas, they really celebrate, Juneteenth. They celebrate it more. And I never knew that existed until I moved to Dallas. I'm gonna be 100% real with you. I didn't know that existed because in Chicago, we never celebrated. We celebrated the 4th of July. No one's, hey man, what you gonna do on Juneteenth? Never, ever. I never heard of that holiday until I actually moved to Dallas.
And what about you, Katie?
We used to celebrate Juneteenth really, really hard down here until maybe about, I say 4 years ago. They used to have like a big concert down at the riverfront in Little Rock. And it was just a whole big shindig. I remember one year they had Nelly and Mystical and what's her name? Angie Perez, the one that's I see me Angel. She came. Oh, it was a lot of really good performance. It was a bunch of really, really, really good local talent. Oh, we used to celebrate.
No.
And let me be clear.
Wow.
The reason I don't go out with people that drink is because people act weird when they drunk. Because like this person is really drunk already. Oh, could you come over, baby? He never called me baby. And I'm like, where's this coming from? I'm like, you've been drinking. Oh, let's do the show over there. I'm not doing no show over there. And you drunk and I'm sober. That don't look right. So
Wiley, I'm glad that you are discerning enough to know that he's trying to Bill Cosby your ass.
Okay, that's just not gonna happen. I'm very cautious now.
Don't drink nothing over there.
No, because he's already and I don't drink and drive. I don't drink and drive. And here in Texas, again, people they drink and drive and they be getting these. What do they call them? What do you supposed to get? A DUI? These DUIs is really high here in Texas because they don't believe in getting an Uber or a cab
Really?
They believe that, listen, I ain't that drunk. I'm gonna get behind the wheel. No, I don't do that. So we're back, you guys, to another episode of Two Man and a Lady, and I want to first start off with Britney Spears. Okay, I don't know, y'all probably tired of talking about Britney Spears because she pretty much.
I ain't talking about that white woman yet.
Oh, you didn't talk about her yet? What about you, Katie? You didn't talk about her yet?
No, I haven't talked about Britney. I heard a lot of other people talking about her.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about Britney Spears. So she had the conservatorship over her, and everybody was blaming her dad, talking about her dad is an evil man. He had these doctors make up these fraudulent documents. So they did have a court date, and she did speak to, testify and stuff like that. So now what I sent you guys is her father is saying he's claiming that he was cut off a long time ago. In fact, he claims that he have not spoken to Brittney in a long time because he's been cut off. He places the blame on her current personal conservator. And put Britney Spears' picture up. Jody Montgomery. He said Montgomery was appointed during a time where Brittney did not have her mental capacity to make decisions in her medical treatment. Per the report, Jamie said if Brittney has been restricted from marrying or having a baby, it's on Jody Montgomery, not him. And so, wow. So she got a lot of other people over her. Like, is it just her dad? Is someone else? This is really confusing to me. But what do you have to say about this, Katie Talk 101? Do you agree with this decision that Britney Spears got to have another adult to make the decision of whether she can have kids or get married?
As far as having kids and getting married, I don't know about that. But as far as having a person around her that's basically like a caregiver, I think she's in a mental state where she probably could use a caregiver. I remember a guy that I dated, there was like an auntie in his family, and she was fine up until one point when somebody like hit her upside the head, or they gave her some blunt force trauma to the head, but it made her a completely different person. And it was different family members that used to have to go over there and basically babysit her. So sometimes when you're I don't know what happened to Brittney along the way. I remember her when she first came out when she was younger. I don't know, along the years, something happened. I don't know if she probably got maybe allegedly a hold to a drug, or I'm not for sure what happened to her, but it just seemed like somehow she lost it. Somehow she lost it. And now I'm hearing the father say something about a premature Alzheimer's. I've never heard of anybody that young having Alzheimer's. I don't know. I think she's being misdiagnosed, but most definitely, I think she's in a state where she probably needs someone there with her. Because if she don't have someone there that loves her, with her, somebody end up taking advantage of her. So I believe when it comes to the marriage thing, they really, really want to watch her close to who they let around her, because they could be around her to take advantage of her. But it needs to be somebody that really loves her and cares about her, not just any person that's just out to see what they can get from her.
Okay. So what about you, Conscious?
Well, first of all, BV, I told Wiley that the show needs to be called Two Ladies
and a Man.
Man. I told him. Now, why did you use that picture for Brittney, Wiley? You so shady and petty and low life.
What's wrong with the picture?
Because that picture makes her look like she's experiencing upper class domestic violence. She's married to a very abusive rich white man in the picture.
There's nothing wrong with the picture. Okay,
take it down. It's causing me anxiety. So I came up on Britney Spears, huge Britney Spears fan. What happened to her is she got Kevin Featherline. Okay, this all started with that white boy with the big dick coming into her life, and Britney Spears lost her everlasting mind. She got all in the zone. She became a slave for the dick. It just went down from there. And so amidst this crazy, intense hyper lust driven relationship to Kevin Federline, they ended up going through a breakup. This breakup, as you guys know, heartbreak can be very traumatic. You couple heartbreak with fame, you couple heartbreak with not having privacy, you couple heartbreak with all the things in the context of celebrity and wealth. Of course, you get a total disaster. And so from there, it was a crap show when they broke up. There was a fight over custody for the kids. So not only did she have to deal with what was going on between her and Kevin, she also had to deal with having her children removed from her and him taking full custody. This is when the dad got involved. The conservatorship came. She was having a public meltdown. She shaved her head bald. And she looked really fucking good as a bald-headed lesbian. I thought she was just going to start eating coochie as a remedy. I didn't know she was going to start beating the hell out of paparazzi and using umbrellas to smash out windows and just go ape-ish. The conservatorship shook me because it's clearly bogus. Like, they're trying to make claims that the girl is unstable. And I would say yes, at the time she was, but not unstable enough to where there wasn't a potential for recovery. And what's tragic is that she went through a hard time, a difficult breakup and breakdown in public, and she's been villainized and criminalized for going through what every other human being gets to go through and gets to eventually move on from their life from. Her dad is absolutely a sociopathic narcissist. And the reason why there are so many hands in this situation is because usually narcissists galvanize together and monopolize in order to triangulate and zone in on their actual target and empath. So I'm not surprised that there's so many moving parts. I know that her sister, Jamie, also just got dragged in the media because she was essentially, I guess, people felt like she wasn't caping for Brittney. She wasn't outwardly protesting and contesting the conservatorship. But what people have to keep in mind is that Brittney's dad is wild. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie herself is being preyed upon, is afraid, living in fear, and probably considering what the hell would happen to me if I tried to get in this thing, because we don't know what the hell this looks like from the inside out. We know what it looks like from the outside in. Long story short, I'm glad that Brittney got a chance to speak. She got a chance to tell her side. It was very triggering to hear Britney Spears say she doesn't even have rights over her reproductive or her organs. She can't even have children. She also can't marry her boyfriend. All of her civil rights have been completely subtracted from her due to this conservatorship. She's also been forced to take medication. She doesn't control whether she goes to the doctor. I mean, we're talking about modern day white slavery. And so this opportunity for her to get her case told is like everything. And I really want to stand. This is when fandom becomes really powerful, because her fans are really the ones responsible for her even getting to exhale and have a shot at her freedom. This is the proper use of a support system. And so I'm really proud of the fans. Free Brittney. Get my girl out of slavery. Let her give us old nasty piece of two-step where she's not high and bunked up on Adderall and Prozac, and she can really get back into her black girl swag out there on that stage. Because I need me an old nasty Britney Spears album. Like, I want to see my girl happy. She's been a big contributor to pop culture. Britney's time to come home, baby. So we stand behind this white woman.
Yes.
Yeah, I stand behind her too. And I think that this is a miscarriage of justice, that her father and the judge and the doctors did this to this young woman. Clearly she was going through a moment, and I do believe she needed somebody to look over her during that moment, but she's no longer in that low point. She's doing really good right now. She's looking good. And she on social media looking good. So I don't think she needs this anymore. So I personally believe that her father did it for a come up. You know, no telling how much money he spent. We don't know. But Britney Spears is a piggy bank. She's worth millions. Mm-hmm. And ever since she was been on the conservatorship, she went to Vegas. She performed. She did a lot. So for anybody that got dementia or Alzheimer's, who's going out doing a tour? Nobody. You in a nursing home eating Jell-O or something, or being taken care of by a CNA. Clearly, she don't need a nurse. She don't need a CNA. She don't need none of that. But she did have a low moment. I believe that, the judge should take it away and also have her go into some therapy, do therapy once a month or twice, whatever. But being under this order and say, hey, I gotta call my daddy to see if I can get pregnant, or I gotta call my daddy to see if I get married. I think that's just outrageous, honestly. So I'm praying that she gets out of it and don't let it stress her out, because the paparazzi was definitely stressing her out. They were everywhere. Britney Spears made a lot of millionaires, because if you get a picture of her, it'd be worth millions, honestly, at her lowest point. So she went through a lot, and I pray that she don't go through that again. And I hope that she able to get married and live her life, because she's still a young woman, and I don't want her to keep going through this, because that will kind of stress you out. So I'm definitely
Can I just add two little caveats? She went from being worth like $200 million to now only being worth $60 million. That's how much they preyed upon her and exploited her. She's lost more than half of her gross network to her greedy ass father, the lawyers, and all of the people who were sucking this woman dry.
Yeah.
Like, that's a disaster. And I also will say that freeing Brittney should also mean criminalizing the dad. Like, he needs to be put away as a result of what he did to his fucking father. All of the corrupted lawyers, everyone involved needs to be locked the hell up. What they did to her is a crime. It's literally modern day slavery. Somebody should have to pay for that other than Brittney.
Oh, facts. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad that her fans and that people are really speaking up, but it costs money. Like them lawyers, legal fees, that's very expensive. And they're gonna suck her dry if she's not careful. But we gonna pray that she get out of it, and best believe she's gonna live her best life. She's gonna go back on tour, even though she's a great dancer, but she's gonna be lip singing. It ain't like she gonna sing live. Let's just be crystal clear. Anytime she was on stage, she don't sing live. But them people, they're gonna spend them hundreds of dollars to see her perform. So I can't wait to see her in Vegas, to see her back, and to see her get married, and see her have some more children. No telling. So Brittney, you are in my prayers, and I pray that you get free. It's sad that you on this plantation of conservatorship. So let's pray that she get free.
Free Brittney until she free.
Yeah. So make sure y'all thumbs up this video, you guys. Let me see what other topic I want to talk about, because I had it in order. And my notes is all.
Somebody in the chat is saying that Britney Spears lied in her hearing. At this point, when you are enslaved and going for your freedom, you're doing what the hell you got to do to get your rights back. I don't give a damn if she lied. Brittney, do what you, girl, cut all the cartwheels, do all the pussy popping you got to do, like them corrupted folk did to get you in that situation, to get yourself out of that situation. She just using their tactics against them to set herself free. Girl, lie, scheme, scam, fraud your way into freedom, baby. Fraud your way into freedom, bitch. Okay, Brittney, don't take no more a high road.
I know that's right.
When they go low, you go straight to hell with them. Okay, get up out of here by any means necessary.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about Pooh Shiesty. Is according to this article that I got on B Sky, they said Instagram helped federal agents indict him on robbery and gun charges. They said Pooh Shiesty has been indicted and taken into federal custody in connection to the October 2020 shooting in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, that left 2 people wounded. They said legal troubles are mounting for Pooh Shiesty. They're saying right here he was arrested for battery after shooting at his shooting at a Miami club. Received another indictment for a separate incident that also occurred in the same town. On Tuesday, Shiesty was hit with charges in connection of armed robbery, according to in October 2020. He and his friends Bobby Brown and Jaden was set to purchase marijuana and high-end sneakers. And the Bay Harbor Islands, Florida, things went left, and Shiesty and Brown allegedly shot 2 men in the butt and lip. During the investigation, federal agents were able to connect the rapper to the crimes thanks to a photo he posted on Instagram. A Louis Vuitton bag filled with $40,000 that fell out. And then they said Shiesty was driving, was discovered by investigators. They were able to confirm it was the rapper's after the agent matched the serial number on the bills to the same wad of cash that Shiesty flaunted on the photo. The new indictment comes after a judge denied his bond for the Miami club shooting, and despite the alleged victim's decision to recant a previous statement. Wow, it's a lot. Go ahead. What do you have to say about this, Katie Talk 101?
One thing I gotta say first and foremost, what is up with these rappers walking around with all of these arms full of money? That's just completely stupid. I see it all over Instagram, and they just have big stacks of money walking around with it. You put a target on your back, first of all. And then another thing is when a lot of these rappers, I guess it's the whole image of being a rapper first. That's what it's all connected to. The image that they have to portray, I guess, to keep everything going and to keep people, watching them and buying their music. They got to seem like they still out here in the streets, even though you just got a brand new opportunity to make something different of your life. Like you making this money to try to build something for your children, to build something for yourself, so you can get into these different brands and continue to make money past the rap. Because, there are no retired rappers out here. I just think when you're young like him, you're not thinking about the future and you're still trying to create this image. But all of those images are going to lead you exactly where you on your way to. And I think it was something like somebody tried to rob him. He ended up pulling out a piece, didn't even use it. And now you facing all of this time because I think he was previously like on parole or something like that. It's just, it's stupid. And I hate to see people time after time after time flushing your life down the toilet when you got an opportunity to do something different. When a lot of people wish they had that opportunity. It's a bad deal. And I seen somebody in the audience that was like, he looked like a troubled child. That's exactly what he is. He looked like a little kid in that picture you just showed. He got some good skin. He got good skin, I seen. But he got that tattoo on his face that just kind of... What you say?
Nothing.
But yeah, he looked like a little kid. He looked like a little kid that's always in school suspension. He always in detention hall. He just looked, a troubled child that needs to grow up.
All right, Conscious.
It's the niggerment for me. It's to go commit a crime and then incriminate yourself all on social media for me. First of all, I'm not surprised when rappers live and do the things that they rap about, because that goes hand in hand for me. So a lot of people were shook and shocked by this, but it's not. Also, I think the biggest important lesson here for me that I took away from the stupidity of it all is that this is just a clear example that money cannot buy happiness, and that when you have people who have dealt with trauma, have been indoctrinated, have been conditioned by hood politics and all of the things that their environment has conditioned them to perceive, it doesn't matter if you give them the opportunity of a damn lifetime, because it's not just the lack of opportunity that needs to be there. It's the actual psychological, spiritual, and emotional healing that needs to happen so that people can do so that you can give it what need to be given when your opportunity comes. And so one of the big issues with hip hop and rap is that they're taking a lot of young men who come from nothing, no guidance, no anything, with raw talent, marketing them, selling them to the public. And these guys have no idea how to adapt to this. As you said, Katie, there's no real maturity around the opportunity that has been given. And so if these record labels, then we know that they're soulless, they lack a conscious, if they really cared about these artists and they kept in mind that these are young people who are coming from broken realities, a part of signing up to a label, especially since everybody else's job is on the line at the label by way of the success of this artist, is I would make sure your ass is in counseling. Because if you're here to make me money, I need you to be well enough to continue to make me money, stay out of trouble, and you ain't around here with the foolishness. And so, you know, young people, get yourself together. Money not going to save you. Being famous not going to save you. Being viral not going to save you. These things are not going to make you happy if you're broken in here. Nothing will change that. So you need to sit in front of somebody, go pray to Jesus, get a therapist, talk to somebody, and work on all this inner stuff so that you ain't out here with the fuckery, with tattoos all over your face, on double parole, facing charges, and throw away an opportunity to have created generational wealth in your family, all because your trauma done completely obliterated what God did for you. God answered your grandmama's prayer when that record deal happened, when that success happened, all the people praying for salvation, and now it's a waste. And I can't even fully blame him, because when you're traumatized, you're going to act your trauma. You can't really hide trauma. You can attempt to deny it, but trauma always rears its ugly head. So it's something that we got to deal with. Deal with your heart, folk.
And these labels, they need to go back to what worked. If you go back to the Temptations, to Motown, they did something called artist development, where no matter how big you were, you had to go to these classes, you had to go to these seminars. They need to bring that back, because again, you're giving too much money and all of these resources to people that do not know how to handle it. And this is another thing they need to do: check their team. And when I say team, your homeboys, your clique, your crew. I was reading a book of 50 Cent, and he said one thing that, you know, if my crew get in trouble, they got to get the bus and go back home, because that's a reflection of me. A lot of these artists have a homeboys from the hood, don't understand the opportunities that they've been given to be on the same side of a multi-million-dollar rapper or trending rapper. They still got that hood culture. So a lot of them need to put them to the side and say, hey, you can't come with me because you don't know how to act right, because you're going to mess me up. And that's what in this particular case with Pooh Shiesty, I think, unfortunately, if he had some good artist development, some good therapy, like you said, I think he would not be in this predicament. But it's going to continue to be this way if they don't change. You're picking up rappers that are broke, and most of them gangs, and they don't know how to say, okay, let me put this gang culture alone. But these labels love this. They support this. And I'm not talking about the Gucci man who they signed with. I'm talking about the major labels that finance the Gucci man label. Because you understand, most of these labels, if it's Gucci man or if it's Beyonce label, they're really financed by a major label like Sony or whatever. And a lot of them love this gang culture. They thrive on that because they help and put people back in prison. They help make these prisons overcrowded. So they will fund that, right? So I personally believe that we need some good labels that say, hey, I'm going to let you rap, but you got to go to this class. You can't be around these gang members, okay? Because that's going to put you in jail. And they don't understand that the government, I watched a documentary, they call them the hip hop police. So they watch these rappers and they infiltrate these rappers because they don't want them to be telling black folks to have unity and home ownership. So they always watching these rappers, right? And so you got to keep that in mind. And a lot of them don't understand it. They're so young and dumb. It was another rapper. He was throwing money in the toilet.
Yes, that was Kodak Black.
Kodak Black was actually putting money in the toilet, right? Flushing down the toilet and actually throwing it. Now, I don't think it was real money. I think a lot of these rappers, you can get fake money.
Real.
Now, if it is real money, obviously he have a mental problem. But I guess he got backlash and he went on and gave his people some free air conditioners. But I'm like, you could have gave them the cash that you flushed in the toilet. Anyway, it's like they're not used. A lot of these rappers are not used of having this much money. You're broke. Like for me right now, okay, all of us, how would you react if someone give you $100 million today?
Oh my goodness.
100, just $100 million. Okay, here you go. 100 million. If you're not mentally prepared, and that's why for me personally, I always try to read books about successful people. I always try to have my mind, what would I do with it? I have these conversations with myself, but that's a lot when you're broke and you get multi-million-dollar deals and you get all this money. Everybody can't handle it. It breaks them down. It makes them. It look like they would have been better off if they would have stayed in the hood. But now they got all this money and they going crazy. So you got to pose that question to: how would you react if someone give you $100 million? What would you do? You know. So again, I'm praying for the victims because someone was robbed, someone was shot. You know, and yet again, another rapper is in prison, in jail. Another rapper.
I think it's such a double-edged sword because. Like there's a big layer of white supremacy involved in this too, who kind of like treat black male rappers like roaches out of an infestation. Like the reason why they don't care to heal these guys is because they want them to be low vibrating enough to pitch low vibrating rhetoric in the form of music to their own tribe, because we know that white supremacy is in the business of disposing and degrading black people. And they also know that it really doesn't matter what happens to any of these particular black rappers because there's a dime a dozen. So many of these niggas want to rap. So many of them want to be a Gucci Man, a Jay-Z. And so what is really the point of white supremacy having to really value the black men that they exploit in hip hop and rap, while white capitalism, white patriarchal capitalism particularly, gets to make the money they desire off of those black artists and gets to not give a crap and dispose of the black community as well at the same time. So this double combo is probably really idealistic when I think about it, when it comes to the way that white patriarchal capitalism really is set up. It's this cold. It's this cold.
Absolutely. But then also too, we also have to call our brothers and sisters out and say, be more mentors to these young brothers, because it's a lot of rappers out here that a lot of OGs, they need to be more of a mentor and more of a mentor to these young boys. But a lot of them, unfortunately, this generation don't want to hear nobody. I got this money, I'm the top, sit down, you I don't want to hear that. And a lot of it is based in white supremacy. And this is why I look at the Jay-Z and then too, our own people, when they get in power, the P. Diddy's and all of them, they even worse than the white people. So they don't, I would expect them to come in and say, let's get artist development. It look like they thrive off of that as well, that negativity. But, unfortunately, it's all about making a quick buck. Pooh Shiesty can be replaced. We lost a lot of young rappers. I mean, from death, they were just down like flies. You know what I'm saying? Look at Tekashi. Look how ignorant he sound and does stuff. He just had a show here in Texas, didn't show up, and them people were crying. One lady spent hundreds of dollars to go see him, had his picture, everything, and she was just crying. Oh, they ain't paying money. He just canceled the show, and it hurt so many people. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But according to him, he said, they didn't pay me all my money. And people were crying. It was a high man. That's why I don't go to a lot of these rap concerts. I don't even go to these Pooh Shiesty concerts, or what's the other guy? I don't go to them type of concerts. The only type of concert he has like an R&B concert. Yeah. Because half of them don't want to show up, and when they do, gunshots be flowing. Because with that, whatever you're doing, right, you attract that behavior to you. And I don't want to be around a person that always talk about death and always laughing at people that die, because you attract death. That's going to come to your door. So I don't want to be around that. So again, I'm praying for Pooh Shiesty. He did have a good haircut. He did have a lining.
Yeah, he did have. He had a fire haircut. Shout out to Pooh Shiesty Barbara.
So the day he got arrested, he did have a good old fresh, haircut. But obviously, you can tell that he probably sad. That little boy in him, like, oh my gosh, mama, I'm in jail. Because a lot of them, they have on this persona, but when they get behind bars and facing that time, that young boy come out. The same thing with Tekashi 69. It wasn't Tekashi 69, it was whatever his real name is. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Daniel.
Yeah, that come out, that Daniel, whatever, that part come out. So when I saw the story, I was like, oh, this would be great to talk about.
Another one. Wait, he looks like a damn narcissist in that damn picture. He low-key looks like he wants to smile in that mugshot, but he's kind of just like giving you something real cute and charming. I also want to say that who the hell is going to be a mentor to these boys? Because everybody from Kanye to Jay-Z to Damon Dash has fucked over other black people. Like P. Diddy is notoriously known for sucking the life and the liberty out of his artists. And so one of the issues is the idea that ethics and morality can exist alongside capitalism. And we keep seeing proof that it either can't, ethics and morals can't exist alongside, because to come into power and to come into capital means an exchange for your soul, for your conscience, because capitalism forces you to fuck over other people and to undermine and misalign other individuals. So it's either that it can't happen, or it takes a certain type of a Yahshua spirited individual to be truly just and fair while also having access to wealth and fame, because something very powerful happens to people when they have a certain level of wealth and resource and desirability wrapped around them. And I think it is possible to resist that, but I'm not sure if I can pinpoint anybody who I believe is strong enough to do just that.
And one last thing too, when it comes to the mentors that you guys were talking about, and I'll get off of this. The reason why a lot of our community, the men in our community, are terrible at being mentors is because they never seen a mentor, really. They never really had one. They don't really even know where to start or what to do. In order for someone to kind of reenact something, they gotta have seen it first. That's just like if a man never had a dad and then he becomes a dad, he's clueless about what to do because he never seen it. Like some women want to be wives, but they had a mother that they probably never seen her be a wife or a good one. So all they can do is just pull up YouTube videos, how to be a mentor, and watch some videos. Yeah. It's sad that a lot of stuff that, especially in our community, a lot of good stuff of quality that we should do or show the younger generation, we don't know how to be that. We don't know how to do that. We got to try to Google it and see what to do. And then what do it take you to? A person that's not our color telling us how to do it.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And we do have mentors out there, and that will speak up in hip hop. I remember Minister Farrakhan, he did a whole I think a show, not a show, but it was a event for hip hop artists. And anytime you get people to really speak up and really want the best for Black people, you would get some type of resistance from the media pushing a narrative and all of that. But I remember he did a whole event, and the hip hop artists will say that they labels will tell them, make more music about gun violence or make more music about gangs. We don't want no conscious rap. We want that. We want, and then you have people that used to work in the executive part of these labels that say, hey, we are in the bed with the prisons, with the prison executives and all of those people. So let's make some more of that music so we can make the prison, so these young boys in the hood can go to prison so these beds can be filled. So we need more people to speak up, but then when you do speak up, you may get resistance from your own people. Like, oh, let these young people be themselves. Like, don't be trying to select them, stop and all that. But we do need, I'm not going to say that no body in this community don't exist that actually mentor people, because they exist. We just have to support those institutions that's actually out here that want the best for the young men and women, because we definitely need some mentors. We need a lot more. And this is why when you come into some money, make sure you Own your own network. We have to have these type of conversations because that's where the power lies. Owning your own network, owning your own television channel, and really speak to your people and really bring people on there that's really going to say, hey, brother, like, don't do this or don't be in a gang. That's not good, et cetera, et cetera. So we definitely have to do that. And it does, like I said, it does start at home.
Well, I know that we can go on and on and on and on, but one of the major issues with being Black owned and talking about collective liberation, collective socioeconomic liberation as Black people is that it's very difficult to focus upon coming together when we still have the issue of white supremacy, which historically has consistently smashed Black people's efforts to liberate themselves, whether it's Black Wall Street, whether it's Greenwood, whether it's all the ways in which white supremacy and just all out killing powerful Black people, all out just assassinating Black folk. And so I think that we have to sometimes like remember that we're not even playing on a fair ground. So even talking about ownership and investment, yeah, it is good, but we can see within this system that the system doesn't mind individual niggas making out of the barrel. If most of those crabs start making a decision together, we're going to see an all-out obliteration and a race war for real, because every time Black people have attempted to stand unanimously on anything, white supremacy has pulled out the tanks, the guns, the vaccinations, the laws. They've rewritten and created the justice system in a way to prohibit collective Black liberation. And so I think it really is a time in history for us to not continue to try to make space for ourselves on this land, but to finally destroy the criminals, the sociopaths who are in the form of white supremacy, and finally exterminate the problem at its root. I don't know what that actually should look like, and I'm not suggesting one thing or another, but I think that before we get to Black liberation, we got to destroy white supremacy liberation. That got to be fundamentally removed from the equation before Black people have a chance in this particular matrix.
I think like when you have that mindset of ownership and investing in your people, you destroy white supremacy, and it starts from home. And when you teach your children, it starts from home. That's why I talk to a couple of Black people that are well off. The way to destroy it is to invest and have those conversations at home and from a child all the way up, because you can destroy that system, right? You can destroy it by being successful, by investing in people and producing that dollar, and looking at other groups of people like the Asian community, the Hispanic community, and how they come over here and be like, okay, we're going to invest in this brother. We're going to make him good. We're going to give him a store. We have to start taking that from other communities, which they learned that from the Black community, period, and bringing that to ourselves. And it can definitely happen. And this is why it starts on YouTube. When I look at different YouTubers and they say, hey, I want to be a successful YouTuber. Well, why don't you work with this YouTuber and y'all work together and do something and build up something, and y'all go over there and build up something? It called group economics. While you trying to build yours, you could work over here and then y'all build it together. And it's a brother, his name is Brother Ben X. He have a Facebook page, and he worked with other Black people, and they made about over $50,000-$60,000 in a month off that one particular Facebook page, and they split that money between themselves, and then he got another page where he control and push content, and they split it as well. So it's a lot that we can do if we do work together, and that's how you can break that spirit of white supremacy, because the system will automatically change, because we will overthrow it, because we have that unity. This is why, and that's when I look in Chicago, I was getting updates about the city of Chicago about the crime, and they always say, "Well, how can you change it?" Money, you got to get the people out of poverty. You got to invest in that community. Once you in debt and it's all this, everybody broke, it's going to increase violence. Whatever neighborhood you stay in, you say, oh, this is a beautiful neighborhood. 9 out of 10 chances you in a neighborhood where people are making money, they got good careers, and they got like they homeowners. So you're not gonna see all that crime versus you in a low income area where crime gonna be in the same bed with poverty. But once you tackle poverty, crime will come down. Once people start getting careers and they start becoming that, you won't have all that. So that's the thing. What we as Black people have to get in those rooms, because when we get, you got to understand. Let's go back after slavery. 10 years after slavery, Black people was just dominating the world, dominating this country in politics, in land, in carpentry. They were dominating. That was 10 years after slavery.
Yeah.
Because, and white folks, of course, they had, oh hell no, like it was resistance. We always have
their jobs.
Yeah, they was like, oh no, we're gonna exactly. So once we come together, we can do amazing things, because we have already proven to do that without Instagram, TikTok, all of these other stuff. Our people didn't have social media, and yet they had unity. So we should have it more now than the people in the 60s, because we got your iPhone that connect you with the entire world. Just like with this TikTok protest that they're doing, this boycott that they're doing now. Shout out to someone, they got a new app that they were telling Black folks, why don't y'all come over here, you get paid for your content. If you go on these different apps and get paid for your content, that could be the new TikTok. So if TikTok is not treating you right, go to a Black owned place that's going to really pay you for your content, and you make that app popping. Because anywhere the culture go, we the culture, the Black people is the culture. Whatever app we go to, we make it popping. We made Clubhouse popping.
But guess who benefits from it? It's not even us. Like our culture benefits every other ethnic group in the world, and Black people get ciphered out of control, out of ownership. And then you also have the issue of coonery and bootlicking within the Black community, because even when Black folk get access and ownership, Black folk end up selling out to Europeans, like Jay-Z selling out Tidal to a white man, like BET being sold out of Black hands into white hands. So we have a anti-Black issue, and we have people who have power and access who also don't have a loyalty to their own people. And so there's a lot that need to be
done. A lot. It's
really just even back to the initial point about the rappers, I would rather, instead of like just like going back to the initial point of conversation, I would rather these rappers not necessarily mentor a person. Take that money and just improve where you come from. Take that money and invest into an entire community. To hell with like paying it forward through one person. You know where you come from, Jay-Z. You know you come from, Kanye. You know the conditions you left behind. You know what the black struggle is. So just actually, once again, like deal with the root of the issue. But even that's difficult. Because once again, just historically, we've seen Black people get knocked down, get up. I mean, this is where all of our old Negro spiritual songs come from. We fall down and we get up.
Yeah.
Who knocking us down? Who knocking us down? They talking about white supremacist ass, okay? White supremacy kid knocking Black folk down, because when you have the power, you control the F, you control the flow, you control the laws, and Black people have become too passive by way of Christianity to be aggressive in their fight with their enemy. Instead, we fight through prayer and through hope in Christ, while our enemies take no rest from the strategy board. And until we get to a point where we no longer feel guilty about taking ownership and the entitlement that we should be feeling as the spinal cord to this country, like until we get over the guilt and the shame and get over this idea that I'm pissing God off and not going to go to heaven, or that there's going to be blood in the streets if we go in unapologetically. Look, there's never been no revolution, no change that has come without bloodshed. If we want what we want, we're going to have to go about this in a way that's just far more domineering than some of the passive approaches we've taken, because we've been here again. We've owned Black Wall Street. With Malcolm X, Farrakhan, the Black Muslim community was bringing in millions of dollars in what they were doing. Where is that today? Because they never last. for one reason or another. So I can't take another conversation about Black-owned business, because Black-owned business under white patriarchal capitalism is a struggle in and of itself, and it never cures the issue of systemic oppression of Black people. Once again, we're talking about the liberty or the freedom or the self-actualization of like individual pockets of Blackness, but still nothing changes about the central core where most Black people are impacted at. So it's not enough for some of us to be free. We're going to have to deal with the actual system and literally dismantle it, like literally destroy it, so that all Black people have an opportunity to run for freedom.
Yes. Amen, Conscious. And you know what? I had a person comment on my video some days ago. Of course, a non-Black person. They told me that Black-owned business is racist. They said they think Black-owned business is racist. He said he thinks that the whole movement and the whole concept of Black-owned business is racist. I was like, whoa. So that shows you that the fear that they have for us in our own stuff.
And we are already owning it. Like black entrepreneurship is bouncing back. We are definitely coming back, and we got people that are really trying to change and for Black people. I would say that speaking about social media, you got people that's making that is Black, that's making a lot of money on social media. It's one particular woman, I forgot her name, but she just retired her husband for 15 years as LAPD officer, and she got a bulk of her money from social media. So it's changing. But it's going to have, we have to continue at it and continue to invest in our community. Once we learn that and do that and continue to invest in Black-owned banks and where they have enough capital to really finance more Black-owned institutions, it could be done. So I'm seeing it all over. Like I was just reading. I'm like, okay, we can do this because we done it with less opportunities, with less. When you talk about social media, I mean, we done it with less, and we were dominating. So we can definitely do it again. And I believe we will do it again, because look at us. I think all of us gonna one day have a business that's gonna thrive in millions. I look at Brother Ben X, just as an example. That brother was just doing videos, and now he got a company he just retired his mother from her job. Wow. So, and he did all of that with social media, learning how to monetize off of Facebook and YouTube, and learning how to monetize 20-30 pages. And now he teaches a course at how to be successful on there. So it could be done. Like, don't get it twisted. It can be done, and it's being done with a lot of Black folks. Just have to encourage those Black people that are getting it and getting put on to invest in the Black community. Because once they do that and start putting some money and start putting businesses back into the Black community and really fund that, we can really, really, really help us if we do that. And that's what we got to encourage our sisters and brothers to say, hey, let's invest back into the Black community, because we spend a lot of money. Don't get it twisted. We are $1 trillion economy. Collectively, of the money that we spend a lot of money. And so that's why I do, for me, I always go to this restaurant that's Black owned out here in Plano, and I support them because they're Black owned. Even when they were doing the chicken sandwiches stuff, I would still make sure to go to her restaurant, and now she's thriving in business because Black people support as well as white folks. They love chicken. So it could be done. It could be done. We just have to support our people. That's just what we have to do. We're gonna have to.
I'm gonna shut up because I'm very pessimistic.
Yeah, because
I'm very pessimistic about the issue, because like
soon as already been doing it for years.
Soon as white supremacy collects the data, like, because everything is database, when white supremacy gets a hold to how many Negroes are investing and coming into ownership, we will see the laws and the taxes and everything else change in order to prohibit and to stop Black collective liberation. What you're talking about is definitely true. All of us entrepreneurs. I'm making money off my platform. I make good money off of my Patreon. I'm an independent entity. There are Black people who are brands and bringing in the coin and bringing the bread home to mama. But just collectively, it's going to be a problem until white supremacy is dealt with.
I think it's already being dealt with. I believe it's a battle, and I believe it's a battle every single day. And it's going to take time because you're trying to change a system that has centuries of it. Of it, but I think it's changing. White people, when they saw the George Floyd, when they saw those white folks coming together and protesting, that's another thing. It's a switch, it's a change now with the millennials versus their parents, how they believe it's up. Like, we have allies that's working with the Black community. Don't get it twisted. And that's a fear of white supremacy. Oh my gosh, white folks working with these Black people. It's more of them out there protesting against police brutality than Black folks. So it can definitely change because we can look at history of us coming together, and it could definitely change. And that's why I encourage people to get into politics, to get into those rooms, to make those decisions. Shout out to Cory Booker. He have a bill, and I'm gonna move on because I could talk about this all day. Yeah. He have a bill that called baby bonds, meaning that when your baby is born, they give a bond and they put money, if you're low income, into this bond to help with the wealth disparity, to help with that wealth gap. And I said, that's a great idea. If you have a baby and you put like $50,000 in this bond, by the time you 18, you must get a house, buy a house, or go use that for college. That will help the Black community. So I do believe that we are changing. Things are changing right before our eyes. And if we just continue to put in that work, it definitely will change. And it's going to happen when young folks come together and we tell the system like no more. And I don't believe in white supremacy that is going to hold me down. I believe if we put the work in and get into power, it can change. You know what I'm saying? And we have to encourage our Black people, because some of them, they get into these rooms and they forget to help their people, and we have to call them out. The same energy we call out these white folks, call out these Black people that have the power too, just like Diddy. I'm glad that they called him out because he was talking about capitalism and about all support Black, and they was like, listen, bro, look how many Black folks you destroyed with them bad contracts. So you can't be talking about capitalism is so bad when yet you have used and abused so many Black people from the hood with these bad contracts. They're begging to get their masters back. So let's get it twisted. So, all right. So that was a good conversation to have in it. So I'm going to move to our last topic real quick because we over our time, but I want to get to Caillou. Y'all know Corey from That's So Raven. He's in the news because allegedly they're saying that he sent a 13-year-old girl a new pic off of
How old is he? He looks 13, and is this a grown man? He looked damn 13.
He's like in his early 20s. He's what? He got to be what? Is he in his 20s? How old is? I think he in his 30s.
20 or 21.
Let me see how old he is.
Young.
Let me see. But anyway, while I find it, let me see. I don't know what. Let me see how old he is. He got to be. He's 29. Actually, he's 29 years old. He will actually be 30 on August the 28th. So he have a birthday that's coming up. But anyway, they're saying that he allegedly sent a 13-year-old girl a pic. Now his mother came out and said no. This 13-year-old girl mother had a sexual relationship with him when he was 16, and she want him to pay her $1 million, and that's why they're bringing up this old case. This is going back all the way back from 2019. Now this is a pending case. So what do y'all have to say about that?
I think when it comes to that mother,
you can take him down from in front of me for one, so that they can see my beauty on the screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I think his mother is on a paper chase right now. And I believe his mother about him messing. She was messing with him when he was 16. So I believe that lady was maybe about 20, in her early 20s, while she was messing with a 16-year-old. But I was just thinking, like, why wasn't the mother paying more attention to her son? Or did she just like let him have this relationship with this older woman? But that to the side, that woman, for her to had a relationship with that boy when he was younger, and now she see that, you know, he went off to be successful, and she coming after him. Sometimes it's your own people that will take you down, first of all. And I just think for things to get better, we have to have more respect for each other than just looking at another person as a come up. And this is a young boy that got his career and worked hard for it. But I don't think his mother should have came out and really even spoke on the situation. When it comes to stuff like this, there's going to be in court, and there's going to be a case over this situation. It's a bad idea to come out and go on the internet and speak about this stuff. But I just think that woman is despicable. That woman who lied about these text messages and come to find out you actually had a relationship with this boy when he was younger. Someone needs to send the police after you, lady.
Right, exactly. Period.
What's wrong with that woman? And then for her to put her daughter name in it, that show you how despicable and disgusting she is. Yes, tell them that he sent these pictures. Look, I'm gonna show you the picture right here. She probably showed her daughter the picture, and her daughter, yep, he sent them. So you teaching your daughter to be a deceitful, wretched young female at an early age. For her to
get it from your mama.
Get it from your mama. Thank you, Conscious. She get it from her mama. And even if this young lady didn't have malice in her heart, her mind, her mama is teaching it to her. It's terrible. It's terrible. And they always say when a boy is young, before he start dating or when he starts to date, you better watch out for them white girls. They're gonna try to say you're right. Oh, sorry about that. They're gonna try to say you took advantage of them. Watch out for them girls. No, sometimes you got to watch out for your own too. If they money hungry.
That's true.
What do you think, Conscious?
I agree with everything that you just freaking said. For one,
in the chat room said that the girl is white. Is this girl a white girl?
I don't know if she's white or black. I can't.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I didn't know that.
I won't be shocked.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that, so interestingly enough, like there is a double standard when it comes to female pedophilia. Maybe that's just because of the way that men and women are socialized. So of course we don't see anything wrong when young men snap women or they have access to adult women. For some reason, we don't see that as predatorial because of toxic masculinity and patriarchy and this strong ass binary and the way we've been socialized, because it's supposed to be in a man's nature, even in a boy's nature, to have sex, to procreate, to utilize his male parts. And actually, if he can obtain an adult woman, that's a trophy and should be honored as success on behalf of the boy, rather than us looking at the fact that there are women who are just as predatorial as there are men, and we should crucify both genders equally for their predatory behavior. Also, I think she's really trying to capitalize off of this Me Too situation. She knows that we're living in an age where the Harvey Weinsteins, the Jeffrey Epsteins, the Cosbys, the etc., all this stuff is playing out. And so, of course, she thinks she can get one up by using her daughter and this black man preying upon this white woman or preying upon this female, etc. Like, I see through you, Maybelline. I see through you, Maybelline. Okay, we here, baby. I see you. You see me. We see each other, honey. As it relates to, but what's interesting about Disney, and I don't know whether these hoes are just cheap and this is why they don't vet their employees, but I looked up Disney, and Disney has a long history of harboring sex offenders and pedophiles. Now, I don't know if this young man is it, But Disney in and of itself, like 35 employees have been arrested over a 10-year period for child rape offenses. And that includes everybody from Disney management, Disney tour guides, ticket sellers, like roller coaster maintenance men, honey, the whole nine. And it's really because Disney doesn't even do a criminal background check on their employees. So this allows for a lot of weirdo people to get into proximity to civilized folk. And so I don't know where they do this, because I don't know why Disney does this, but Disney is just weird itself, child. And I don't know what else to say other than, look, the Me Too movement is real. Men and women are preyed upon. But there is a dark side to the Me Too movement that's not being spoken about, coupled with the dark side to hypervisibility and fame. We're living in the age of supernatural clout chasers. We cannot take any accusation at face value at this point, because there are people who would literally lie on your pussy or lie on your dick just for the sake of a payoff, just for the sake of a click in the view, just for the sake of 15 damn minutes. Going back to what's her name? Shaquanda Washington, the black female who accused Usher of taking her back to the room.
Shaquasia Sharpton.
Shaquasia Sharpton. Three weeks into an investigation with celebrity attorney Lisa Bloom, this woman pulls out and says she made all of this up. She got us all believing that Usher is leaking green crap out of his pee hole, got us believing he all nasty and infected up, and you done lied just for the sake of being relevant. Like Janice Dickerson completely embellishing her encounter with Bill Cosby. Like, I mean, this is real. So when we see people coming forward, we shouldn't even see them as victims. We should see everybody as an accuser first and foremost. You ain't a victim until that shit done been scrutinized, psychoanalyzed, and we done came to reasonable doubt that this claim is rooted in some damn substance, instead of running with hearsay and she say and then risk penalizing and punishing innocent people. Like, I don't appreciate none of this shit going on with T.I. and Tiny, because these people ain't made it into a courtroom yet, and y'all already done canceled the people's show. Y'all are sponsors done pulled out. This man done been removed out of movies, and we call this the land of the free. We call this justice. We're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven damn innocent. And so you got people who are being completely preyed upon by the Me Too movement alone. We got to be careful, and we got to be discerning in this particular age. That's all I'm going to say.
Definitely. And you know, when you're a celebrity, you have to be very careful being on social media, on these Snapchat apps and all of this.
Being in for DMs, all that.
Yeah. If you can't verify the age, just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? People will try to set you up, you know. So just be very cautious of it. This is a pending case, meaning they did not get thrown out. So we shall see how this is going to go. But again, this is yet another case, and somebody said he sent a pic out to 13. I mean, James Charles just had multiple cases like this, sending pictures to underage men, and he got caught up in some stuff, and he had lost a sponsor because of
makeup guru.
Yes, the makeup guru. Yes, so you had to be very cautious of that. I don't think his mother should have spoke out, because it is an open case. You should just allowed it to play out, and then once it play out, and if he's innocent, come out and sing to the world. But don't speak before we get justice in the courts, because that can mess your chances up or use something against you in the court of law, because it makes you look bad as a mother. If your child was smashing a grown woman and he was 16, why didn't you stop that? So you had to be very careful trying to throw people under the bus, because then I look at your parenting skills. Definitely going to keep you all updated on this case, because people have already came to say, he needs to be canceled. I don't know if he lost. It's his show on the All Black Network, if they're going to snatch that down. but I don't know. So I'm gonna keep y'all updated on it because they automatically be snatching shows if you get some type of allegation against you. They don't wait until the courts come out, and the damage is going to be already done to your reputations and whatever. So we shall see how this is going to operate when it comes to that. And our last topic, because I know we was going to get into Bill Cosby, and we pretty much the same thing with Bill. He's innocent. I mean,
not the same thing with Bill.
Same thing with Bill Cosby. He's out of prison. The Supreme Court said y'all should have never pressed charges on him at all. We read over his documents again. One of the things they was putting out that he admit to drugging women. He never said I admit to drugging women. He offered them Quaaludes, and you got to understand what Quaaludes is in the gay community. We call them pop. We use poppers in the gay community. I don't use them, but I've been with people that use poppers where they snuff stuff up their nose and they make your butthole, make it more. I think it's open or loose. Yeah. So they offer, and I've been in places where I was offered poppers. So with Quaaludes, it's like a sex drug, and he offered these women. According to him, he offered to them. It didn't say, oh, he put it in these people drinks and they didn't know nothing about it. No, that never was. That was a narrative for media, and that's why it's so important to read documents for yourself. But the media know majority of the public are not going to do their research. They're only going to listen to what CNN got to say, MSNBC, ABC, CBS. They're not going to go and read the documents. Just like the decision that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court made is 79 pages. The average person did not read the 79 pages. They only go and get the clip notes from the media, and that can be dangerous because media sometimes they leave out the truth. They only give out what's juicy, a good headline and stuff like that. But it was proven. The court said that they should have never pressed charges on Bill Cosby. He had a deal with the prosecutor because the prosecutor said the reason why he gave Bill Cosby the deal is because the accuser kept changing her story, and that it would have been hard to get Bill to make him be found guilty in a court of law. So in a criminal court, so we're going to bring it to civil, and you sit down and you get some justice civilly. And Bill Cosby had to sit in about a couple of depositions, and the prosecutor said, listen, I won't press charges against you criminally. This will not be used against you in a court of law, in a criminal court of law. So go ahead and testify. He wrote a press release that he wasn't going to press charges, but a new prosecutor came out and said, I'm not going to live up to that agreement. I didn't make that agreement. I'm trying to win this election. So he went on and he prosecuted Bill Cosby. The first trial came out, hung jury. They couldn't come to a conclusion. So the second trial, the judge allowed these new victims, not Andrea Constant, not just her, but new women that's unheard of, to come and testify against Bill Cosby, and that's how he got the guilty verdict in the second trial.
And in all, how long was Bill Cosby locked up? Was it 3 years?
I think it was about
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. He was locked up.
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time out of your life, especially when you're at the end.
80s. Yeah, Mm-hmm. So what do y'all have to say about this? Were y'all shocked by this verdict?
I'm shocked, but you know what? Hopefully I don't get any backlash, but I was relieved to see him out. I can honestly say that because I thought that this man was going to end out, his latter years locked up. And I remember us having a conversation, Wiley, and I remember when we brought up Bill Cosby, and you said, yeah, he probably going to die old and alone in a cold cell.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because the way, again, the media was doing it, and I haven't spoke to any lawyers. Now, if I would have had a conversation with some lawyers, they would have said they're not shocked by this decision. Because Judge Joe Brown went on a media tour. He went on the Black News channel. He went on, Kwame. Is this they say his name? Went on his show.
Kwame.
Yeah, said the man is innocent. So legal experts not shocked by this. The general public is shocked because they listened to the media, the way they manipulated the headlines, saying that this man admitted of drugging women. That was the narrative that was pushed. And most people, they said, but he admitted of drugging women. They always say that. and he did not never admitted of drug. He admitted of offering them quaaludes, not against their way. He offered, and it's all in the documents. You go read this stuff. But again, the average American is not going to sit down and read and do their research, and it's not going to do that. But go ahead, Conscious. Will you finish, Katie?
Well, yeah. Will you finish, Kate?
Oh, yes, I'm done. Go ahead, Conscious.
Well, the truth is, Bill Cosby is a guilty man free. And he is just as guilty. He is just as legitimately guilty as he is legitimately free. Both sides are legitimate because he was released on a technicality that the law should have been integral for enough to correct, and they did it because he made a plea deal practically in exchange for a confession and admission of guilt. I don't know what deposition y'all read, but the deposition I read was absolutely disgusting in terms of the things that Bill Cosby admitted that he did. The issue that we have with what was discussed in the deposition is the fact that Bill Cosby is conflating, because they asked him straight out, how did you know that these women wanted to have sex? He said, I don't. I'm really good at reading body language. So first of all, we have a man admitting that these women didn't even know they were coming over for dick. And he justifies giving them quaaludes without them knowing in the deposition because he assumed they wanted sex based upon how they sat and communicated and if they gave him nonverbal cues, all sociopathic, narcissistic ass, manipulative, predatory, mental gymnastic bullshit that people take themselves through to justify abuse and wrongdoing on a person. But because he technically was true to the deposition, they were supposed to, as Wiley said, try him civilly and not criminally. But when the new prosecutor came later on in the game, they used what was in the deposition to incriminate Bill Cosby because he did admit to not getting verbal consent, and he admitted that he did get a doctor's prescription for quaaludes under the guise that he was suffering from a back injury that he also admitted in the deposition he lied to his doctor about because he never took, no, he did take the quaaludes when he had a back injury, but he kept perpetuating he was suffering from chronic pains just so that he could have a volume of these drugs on deck because, as he admitted in the deposition, his plan was to give them to women so that he could have sex with them. So this man is fucking guilty and he was set free. And so now you have a mad, divided America who is like, on one end, we have to respect the law for doing what the law agreed to do, which wasn't to criminally charge him. So they had to correct it because that's what integrity looks like. Y'all gave him the option to pretty much settle out of court, which he paid these victims off in millions of dollars. And then y'all came back later on, changed y'all minds, used the deposition in order to incriminate him. So then you had to set him free. But we know what's in the deposition. So we're now dealing with, wow, this man got to go home after preying upon women for decades through using his privilege and power, which he also admitted to, that he used his fame, he used quaaludes, and he used his assumption that they wanted sex in order to rape and take advantage of these damn women. And I read the deposition. Nobody in the damn chat can tell me what the hell was admitted because I read every page of the deposition. I'm going to be going live tonight to read excerpts from the deposition on my platform. He's guilty.
I'm going to say he's innocent.
How many pages was the deposition, Conscious?
A lot. It was what?
He did like 3. I think no, I'm sorry. He did it was a couple of depositions that he did. He did a couple of them. Yeah, he did a lot. So I want to say this. He's innocent. And the reason why I'm saying he's innocent, if we keep saying that he's guilty, Obviously, the courts disagreed. The highest court in Pennsylvania disagreed. He should have never been charged, and he was again. He kept his innocent. He said, "Listen, I'm innocent. I didn't do this." And this Angela Constant, she changed her story multiple times, and it wasn't Quaaludes in this case. It was Benadryl, and she did not want it to go to criminal court. She was getting lawyers for civilly, and she changed her story multiple times. She wasn't a reliable witness. And for this Bill Cosby case, he's innocent. And the reason why I'm saying he's innocent because the court said he's innocent. I believe in the court of law, and it was a violation of his due process. And a lot of those women were nothing but groupies. They knew what they was doing. And I just don't understand how y'all all knew Bill Cosby was doing this, but yet y'all still go to the hotel room with Mr. Bill Cosby. You can't have it both ways. Another thing I want to say about Mr. Bill Cosby, to the universities that said, we're going to take your degrees away, all the degrees they gave him, give him back his money that he gave to these universities. If he's such an evil person, give him back all the millions of dollars that he donated to these HBCUs. I want to say this. Bill Cosby was a serial cheater because he were married. So him having these relations with these women, you commit adultery, but him being a rapist, absolutely not. I don't believe it. I need to see some more updated information, some updated info on this, because one particular woman said, well, he gave it to me, he walked me down, he put me in a cab, he did all these things, and then another woman changed the whole story up. So I have to look at this case by case. Again, Lisa Bloom is representing some of these victims. Most of them are not going to get anything because the statute of limitation have passed on majority of these women. Majority of them, we ain't gonna get a dime. But Bill Cosby do have the power to sue Pennsylvania for millions because he did not supposed to be charged in the first place. That's number one. And number two, I can't wait till he go on his comedy tour, because I'm definitely going to get a ticket. I want to see him and do his show. I definitely want to see him do a documentary. I definitely want to see him write a book. And I'm here for it. Like, the courts got it right. He never supposed to be charged. So we should definitely see.
But what about the moral aspect of this, though, Wiley? Like, what about this man admitting to using his fame to injure these women and using Quaaludes? Now, I know people are
saying people used Quaaludes back in the day, conscious. That wasn't uncommon using Quaaludes.
But there's a big issue with using Quaaludes because, first of all, there's a misperception that Quaaludes is equivalent to poppers. Quaaludes, and depending on what volume of Quaaludes that you give to an individual, and sometimes he was giving 3 of these pills to someone that left them completely immobilized. Poppers doesn't immobilize you. Poppers does not paralyze you. Poppers does not do anything. It gives you a head high that allows your body to relax, but you're still fully in control and functional. Quaaludes and the volume of Quaaludes can fully paralyze and leave a person immobilized, leaving you unable to consent. Now, a lot of people are saying these women must have wanted the dick. That's still also okay, but I did not consent to you drugging me and leaving me unconscious for that sex. You're still out of order and out of damn line. If me and you agree to have sex and I come over, I'm agreeing to sex. The expectation should be that I'm agreeing to conscious sex, lucid sex. If you didn't slip me some type of drug that leaves me unresponsive in a daze, you can't use the fact that I agreed to come over and have sex as a justification to then giving me something that I'm not aware of and that I didn't ask you for, and then proceeding to have sex with me, because that's technically still rape.
That's still rape. It is.
A few of those women agreed to take the
he admitted in the deposition when the prosecutor asked him, was so and so aware of the Quaalude? He said no. Sometimes the women would say that they've been dealing with stress, they've been stressed out, so he would go to his medicine cabinet and put Quaaludes either in their drink or hand them Quaaludes to take. And because they trust Bill Cosby, they would be under the impression that this was just an Advil, a Tylenol, something that would maybe reduce anxiety, but not take them offline, if you know what I mean. So, and he admitted to this, and he admitted to manipulation. He admitted that these women didn't know what they were taking. Sometimes he didn't even ask them. He would just slip it in their drink. He would just crunch shit up, like what predatorial behavior. If Cosby is not a predator, allegedly, if they were already going to give up the whole deposition actually exposes Cosby, because if he had to give them Quaaludes to have sex with them, it meant that he didn't even understand if he was getting pussy that night. So there was never even an understanding that you're coming over for sex. He didn't even set it up that way. And let's also be honest, because we ain't talked about this part yet. We're talking about, at that time, one of the most notable pop culture figures in media. How many people, I don't give a damn what time of night it is, if you are on a career journey and one of the most significant figures who can make or break your career calls you over at 11:30 at night or 1-8, who the hell is not going to Beyonce's or to Jay-Z's hotel room if you're up and coming rapper? Like, people can say
those are not business hours though. If they and I'm gonna say this for you to say that, for you to say that, I know, like, my sister, she does comedy. She do comedy. She go to different states and she has shows. And she was telling me about this very popular comedian. He had some real big time guys when he was out there in Los Angeles. He was supposed to meet up with this guy, talk some business with this guy. This guy went all day without calling him. This man ended up calling this man around 10-something at night. And he thought to himself, it's not business hours. He never went. So if somebody calling you to not only their place, someone calling you to a hotel, no matter who this person is, a hotel is a intimate setting. With me as a woman, I have never went to a guy hotel without thinking, I might just get him some. I might just, I think I'm going to bust it open tonight, I never went to a guy hotel thinking nothing's going to happen.
You are a mature and experienced
I want to say this,
woman, Katie.
I want to say this.
Enough. He's talking about
women,
young people.
What's wrong with those women at the time?
Those women was hoes, groupies. They knew what they was getting into. They took them damn Quaaludes. They got fucked. And years later said, I can give me a payday. So let me just say this man raped me and I'm about to get a check. Them were hoes and groupies. Period, point blank. Okay? That's what they was. And now they want to change it up because it's the Me Too era. All he did, you was a hoe and you were a groupie. Be a hoe and a groupie. And see, what I want to say, this is where I'm very strategic now. And I just be by myself because people just don't know. I had this guy in my place and he got super drunk and he left and went somewhere else. And he said, I didn't know what happened the last. He didn't know what happened. See, I don't even, from that experience, I said, this is why I can't be around people that drinking. Somebody just invited me to their barbecue and they're getting lit. I don't be around people that drinking because that can turn left because you act like, I didn't know what was going on. Nothing happened. But when you a drunk ass, you start to think, your mind started to play games on you. So when it comes to Mr. Bill Cosby, you knew this man was married. He you up middle of the night. What the fuck you think you about to get? They knew what they was getting into. And the thing about it is they trying to change it up and they're trying to say he's this sexual predator. They're not going to admit that I took the Quaaludes. I wanted to be with this married man because it's going to make you look bad. But to say that he's a predator, I want to paint this narrative. And the media plays a big part in this. But the man got out and the court said, no, he should have never been charged. That's the narrative. But they can't phantom that narrative because it's a black man that you then crucified in the media. You can't come out and say, well, he's innocent because the courts have spoken. Now, if that was anybody else that was white, they'd have been thrown out a damn parade. But because he's black and because we crucified him for months on end, we can't come out and say, well, he's innocent. The courts came out. You cannot say this man is guilty as a journalist. I'm looking at these so-called journalists. Oh, he's guilty. And the court said, no, he's innocent. We have spoken. Now, when the court said gay marriage is legal, you can't come out and say, well, gay marriage is illegal. You can't do it. If the highest court of that state have spoken, you have to go with that court have said. We cannot go by, let's go by public opinion. No, I'm not going by public opinion crap. I'm going by what the court said. That man got out. He's innocent. He's walking around free. He's able to say what he had to say. And those women, I personally believe they were hoes and they were groupies. That's what I'm standing on that.
I got a question for you. I got a question, though. I understand everything you just said. I, too, respect the fact that he's free because the criminal justice system was faulty. Point blank, period. He technically was never supposed to be in prison to begin with because he took the plea deal. They should have honored that. They corrected it. I'm okay with his freedom. But my question to you is, why can't both things be true? Why can't he be free and also be guilty? Not because of what the media said, not because of what these ladies said, but by admission of Bill Cosby's own words in that deposition, also be guilty. I feel like we think we have to choose between both realities when both things are true. Both things are the case. And my whole question to you is, Wiley, fine, I'm a hoe, but I didn't agree to be a unconscious hoe. That's where the fatal error is. I did not agree to be a paralyzed hoe. I didn't agree to take it in my ass, be unconscious. I didn't agree to suck your dick without being able to move a damn muscle in my jaw. That's what I did not agree to.
You may not agree to that, Conscious, but these women out here will take all type of drugs, and they knew what they were getting into. They knew they were offered. You offered those, and you took it willingly. And now they're trying to change up the whole story. That's how I'm looking at this. I agree with Judge Joe Brown. Those were groupies, and those were hoes, and I stand on that. That's how I believe.
You should have opened up the damn lines on this show. You should have opened up the phone lines on this one.
That's what I personally believe in, and I stand by that. And I stand by Judge Joe Brown, and that's a very respected judge. He's been in the law. Been
Judge Joe Brown believes in a gay agenda, Wiley. He believes that gay men are emasculating straight men, Wiley.
He's been in law long. I agree with Monique Presley.
The gay agenda.
Again, I agree with Monique Presley. Again, that's a black woman. And I agree with these law experts. This is right. And this is what, even with this R. Kelly deal, let's be on this. He had been offered to get out of prison, to get deals, to get lesser time. He said no to all of that. So now I'm sitting down and say, okay, let me look at these new cases and read the court documents. And this is why I like Bill Cosby case so much, is because you can see these documents. You can read, especially with that Constant person. She allegedly said, this happened to me, but you went back with Bill Cosby. Then you allow your family to meet Bill Cosby. So if Bill Cosby did all these things to you, why would you go to his show, let your family meet him, go back to his house?
Easily,
he did something to, like, that don't make sense to me.
Easily, Wiley. I'm gonna tell you why.
That don't make sense.
No, yes, it does.
A year later,
yes, it does.
Now you want to sue? Like, that don't make sense.
Yes, it does. It does make sense. I'm gonna tell you what you gotta remember when you're trying to make sense of it. You gotta keep in mind the power of wealth and fame. This is why we talk about privilege, because this is how powerful people with privilege are in the lives of everyday people trying to also obtain privilege and power. If you remove that from the situation, it looks like who in their damn right mind, because the cashier at Blockbuster couldn't have got away with it, because the postman couldn't have got with it, but one of the most powerful pop culture figures does have that level of influence and seductive power and seductive capital over this. People sell themselves out for celebrities. People have looked at R. Kelly's camp. Everybody around him, when the Surviving R. Kelly series came out, from producers, bandmates, all saw what was going on. Nobody said anything about the young girls on set, about the young girls that the accountant was helping to fly out of one city into R. Kelly's home. You know why? Because when people's jobs are on the line, when their dreams are on the line, and you are the person who is the gatekeeper to their dreams? How many people are going to say no and not exchange their morality in place of their purpose? If right now somebody gave you literally the opportunity of a lifetime, I'm sure in your mind, you could rationalize selling yourself in some way in order to earn something that you believe at the time is greater than your ethics. These women decided to sit back and say, hey, I will give up my body and permit this assault and this egregious act because I ultimately am going to be able to have access to my dreams and a successful career by playing nice with one of the most powerful men in media. These were actors and actresses and women and ambitious women. And this is the problem with patriarchy and capitalism and power. This is why the casting couch looks fucked up and nightmarish now, because so many people sell themselves short because somebody else has a higher position and gets to play off of your dreams and your desperation to make it out of your hoods, to make it out of your family poverty, to make it out of generational poverty, and get to press on you. Now, personal agency still comes into place. People got a choice. But when you consider all those realities, we're not gonna act like that power is not perceived, and holding and dangling an opportunity over somebody doesn't come with real temptation. Sell your soul and follow me. That's a real fork in the road, and people in power today have given up and sold their souls in many ways in order to be and have access to the privilege that they have. So yeah, if you remove privilege from it, it looks illogical. This is crazy. Not when you include privilege, not when you include desperate people trying to make or break their careers by aligning themselves with Cosby and giving him a green light and a pass to do shit they would not allow any other man to do, but they will allow Cosby because of his position and what he can potentially do for them. And he's wrong on a moral level for doing it, and he's legally wrong for giving these women sedatives that they were not aware of. And his, once again, admission does not, it absolves him of, and let's be clear, the courts don't find him innocent. They simply overstepped a conviction. He's still guilty, but he's free on a technicality. And both
and they're going to be liable financially as well. Again, we all came to a conclusion on this. It was a violation of due process. Shout out to Judge Joe Brown for speaking on that. Mark Lamont Hill, he was like, oh, I regret interviewing Judge O'Brien. I should have ended the interview. No, bro, you mad, you got embarrassed. He had the stronger argument, and so I'm here with it. I just wish the media give it the same publicity that they gave when this man was so-called guilty. But now he's out and free. It ain't getting that same. They don't want to talk about it. They want to move on to the next story. But I'm just saying, Bill Cosby is not guilty. He's an innocent man, and he's out now. And we would love to talk to Bill Cosby because he's been sharing bloggers. I don't know if y'all follow his.
That's why you caping so hard, nigga. You're trying to get a share. Now go ahead, honey.
No, I'm not trying to. But he's sharing like bloggers. He's so he's been doing a lot of stuff. So shout out to Bill Cosby. I can't wait till he do a show. I don't care where he do a show at. I'm gonna go and see his show. I just want to see how is he gonna deliver comedy in this new with all this noise. And people saying, oh, he shouldn't do a comedy show. Why not? He's a comedian. Why not? They interviewed former people that was incarcerated with Cosby. They said he was making us laugh. He was educating us. And so wow, so I can't wait. I will keep y'all updated on this case. Like I'm definitely going to keep y'all updated on Bill Cosby because this case is over with and done with. They cannot redo him again. Let's say that quote unquote accuser got millions of dollars, so she's well taken care of, and we shall see how this going to play. What else they're going to try to pull on Bill? Let me tell Kaylin Walker, you better hire Bill Cosby team.
Oh yeah,
because his team did an amazing job. Them lawyers. Their phone is ringing off the hook because they did a good job bringing this to the courts. So definitely, and they could have decided They could have decided on the extra women that they brought in. But they was like, no. We ain't even gonna decide on that. We're gonna put on in the beginning and he should have never been charged in the first place. Thank y'all so much. We're gonna bring this to a close. Katie, how can they find out about you, Katie Talk 101?
Right, you guys can hit me up at Katie Talk 101 for all of the latest breaking news for the culture. I deal with the breaking news, viral stories, and much, much, much more. Make sure you go and check out my story I did maybe about a week and a half ago. It was dealing with the Conjuring movie. There were a few people who got possessed while watching that movie. I did a full breakdown over on my channel. Plus, with Steven Jackson speaking out about Nichols with the ESPN whole fiasco. So go there and check me out at Katie Talk 101.
I'm definitely checking that out.
Yes, make sure.
You guys already know where you can find me. Of course, Conscious TV, Instagram, Conscious TV, YouTube. I'll be going live tonight. I got a pitch real bad, so I'll be live tonight to get into the Bill Cosby situation, honey. We're going to talk about some things and another riveting, wonderful show. 2 men and a lady is a force to be reckoned with out here. These streets, like 2 men and a lady get a crack a lacking. So this was a great, great, great dialogue. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight.
Thank you all so very much for tuning into this. This is a conversation definitely we had. Continue in the comments. I would love to hear y'all thoughts on that. And shout out to Conscious and shout out to Katie Talk 101. Definitely. Oh, okay. I forgot to say this about Tiffany Haddish really, really quickly. She agreed with Monique and said she don't like women wearing bonnets, but she got dragged because they said this is the same woman that bring fried chicken to award shows and wear the same clothes over and over. So why is she speaking against bonnets? Do y'all want to make a quick comment on that real quick? Because I forgot I put her in the title. Katie,
real quick. Yeah, like you said, sometimes it's not like the message, it's the messenger. So what she said is true, you know, with her agreeing with Monique and the no bonnet thing. But you also have to watch how you move out here yourself if you want anyone to take you serious about what you're saying. Because, you know, some little girl she talking to, telling her not to wear a bonnet. Girl, you pulled out fried chicken when you was on that nice dress in the white carpet around all the white folks. Then you had the hot sauce to put on the chicken too.
Katie said everything that I would say. Like, girl, when Tiffany Haddish can realize that her ability to be comedic is about just as cute or not as cute as a bonnet is, then she can finally have something to say. Tiffany Haddish is the most untalented comedian I've ever been forced to listen to and experience.
Did you ever go to her show, Conscious? Because
I've been to a show and I've seen her stand up, and I was having more fun making myself laugh at her trying to make me laugh than I actually did laughing.
Because I heard that they said D.L. Hughley. They say it's not funny, but then one person said, "Man, I went to a show. He's super funny." So you really don't know. I don't know if she's not funny or not. I've never been to a show. I went to Just Hilarious show. She's funny. I've been to Monique's show, but Monique is way more funny than just Hilarious. The way how she can get the crowd together is real good. But she loved fried chicken. She was doing it from the white folks. That was embarrassing.
Be Conan.
Yeah. Me personally, I don't. Shout out to the Black entrepreneurs that are getting these bonnets and selling them. And they're making it to fashion. So that's a good, you know, it's different ways that you can do this. So again, but Monique is still telling Black women don't wear them because she was outside recently and telling that sister don't have on a bonnet. So she is really practicing what she preach, and she is still a big voice in our culture because that went viral.
Who, Monique?
Yeah, Monique. She's still very, very, very relevant in our community because the community is split. You got half and half. Some say wear, some say don't. But when I went to the airport coming back from Vegas, I maybe saw one person with a bonnet on. I maybe saw one person with a bonnet. So I'm still looking. I'm like, okay, is that message out? And I think now people, before they put it on, okay, I don't want nobody tapping on the shoulder, so I'm not gonna wear it. I just wear good on the good weed. So, but before that, I used to see a lot of people with a bonnet on. But now I think that is such a, I don't know. I don't want to be ghetto. I don't want to be ratchet, so I'm not gonna put it on. But yeah. So one of my neighbors, I saw one with on. I wanted to tap her on the shoulders, but I didn't do it because she could have maced me. But I saw her recently, and she did not have on her bonnet. So. Okay, thank y'all so much. Thank you, Conscious TV. Thank you so very much, Katie Talk 101, and y'all keep the conversation going in the chat. All right, peace. You going live tonight, Katie? Or you going live tonight?
I'm probably going early in the morning.
Early in the morning, tomorrow morning, and Conscious say he's going live tonight. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Peace.
All right,
bye.
All right, bye.
I gotta pee.